All right, good evening, Speed Gaming. Welcome to another Link to the Past spoiler log tournament. Today we have Kyong versus Pikapals in a very hype 5-0 versus 5-0. My name is Tracy M. With me today is Clear Mouse. How are you doing, Clear Mouse?
I'm doing great. This is probably one of the most exciting matches that we have this week. These guys, as you said, 5-0, undefeated, the only two undefeated players in our entire tournament. This should be an incredibly good match to watch.
And as a reminder, because it is 5-0 versus 5-0, the winner is going to be guaranteed a spot in the bracket. Now, the loser probably makes brackets as well. Probably 5 and 2. But should be in pretty good shape for the tie breaks. But be nice to I'm sure for both these guys are thinking, let's win this one, go ahead and just get it done, not have to worry about it.
And these runners are off. Yeah, we have some divergence already. Pikapals started at Sanctuary. Looks like taking to Kakariko from the north side, picking up a mirror, immediately mirroring out, saving a couple seconds there to get out of Sanctuary. Kyong looks like started at Link's house, picked up some bombs, and is taking Kakariko from the south. Looks like lots of goodies here, because Kyong is doing the race game, and Pikapals is in Blind's hut.
Yeah, Pikapals picking up a nice container and a cane of burn. Neither of which are needed, but definitely nice safeties. But a bow, we do need that. Not going to the back, so it doesn't need those bombs. And flippers at the race game. So, yeah. Also going to point out, I know a lot of you have been watching these spoiler log races for a while now, but the bombs there kind of important. It's the thing that we always say, oh, we don't need those anymore. Early game you want them, late game you don't care about them. But it's a lot of times when in spoiler log, you got to know where those bombs are and pick them up when you need them. Oh, and there's a nice 10 bombs there for Pikapals. It works out really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far looked like a lot of goodies here, because Pikapals also picked up the book. Kyong Force taking his newfound flippers, headed immediately to South Shore, picking up a nice bottle with the fairy, so it's a very nice safety to have. Also, I guess like if he ever goes back to Kakariko, which I'm sure he will, it could also be something that's a kid.
Oh, and nice crab. Well, bombs are not going to be an issue today. I say that, but really, it's not like you're going to go out of your way to the crab later. But it's really not going to be an issue early.
Yeah, and of course, as part of the spoiler log, in addition to knowing where all of the items locations are, all 216 of them, things included are the tree pulls as well as the rupee crab drop. In this case, it was 8 bombs, so Kyong took full advantage of that.
Yeah, both runners picking up some money. I wonder if there's going to be a Zora item required here. Could be just money for Pod. I'm not sure. Although Pod is a pendant, we may not go in there. We see a fire rod in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Very nice item to have.
Yep.
Yeah, but no magic so far, so they will have to go find them.
Yeah, Kyong gonna have to get over to Kakariko at some point. See, gonna go and it looks like there's something in Zora's area. Won't be the Zora item because he doesn't have enough money for it yet.
We certainly want to grab something out of Waterfall here, though.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something on the sick kid that he has that bottle for, or if there's a flute that we're going to be seeing pretty soon. Or maybe just want to get those boots sooner.
Yeah. It's certainly very understandable routing, especially when you get boots early. It can definitely save you a lot of time. Not only just from dashing, but just also, once we get a sword, maybe once we get a hook shot, you can do a lot of spin speed, a lot of overworld movement here, too. We find the hammer on Zora Ledge. That is that's required.
Pretty important. Yeah, interesting with the better runners, and these two are both very, very good runners, not just Randomizer, but just in general. Those boots are going to mean that much more to them.
Yeah, we actually see Kyong taking a little bit of a muscle memory here, kind of like to break off, because he wasn't going to get anything from Zora.
Yeah. Okay,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess Kyong probably gonna go to Kakariko now. Nope. Well, or maybe he's going. No, he's not into Kakariko yet. Okay, there must be something in the escape or in the uncle area. So just so y'all know, we have not looked at the spoiler log yet. Our tracker, Yoinker's wife, shout outs to Yoinker's wife for doing the tracking. She's looked at the spoiler log, and we'll, and you'll notice that we've already looked at she's already listed all the crystals and pendants. So we know what's going on, but yeah, we haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah, actually, and Kyong, I think, just spent some time at the race team in Kakariko, and then didn't actually go in Kakariko proper. So maybe he is trying to save number of trips, maybe like back to the village. We did find a permanent weapon in the castle. Always nice to see a sword. So and in fact, having that sword makes the boots actually like much more powerful.
Oh, God. If you've ever tried to play boots without sword, it sucks. it makes boots almost a detriment. So yeah, we'll I'm sure Kyong very happy to pick up that sword. I'm sure Pikapals will probably get that next. Kyong now going to go ahead and pick up those mitts, gloves and mitts, and bow and all the other goodies that are in Kakariko today.
Yeah, so once Kyong gets through Kakariko, he will have the mitts and the hammer, but no Moon Pearl in sight for either of these runners.
Yeah, it's going to be showing up somewhere else. Right now, they could go to the mountain. Not much there, and it's not actually in logic. Could be in Eastern. I'm going to guess not in anywhere in Hyrule Castle, because then they would have gone further along to get it.
Yeah, even though neither runner here has the lamp, I'm sure dark rooms are not going to be an issue for these guys.
No, dark room's not going to be a problem. We see this a lot in these spoiler races, runners skipping the lamp. It is a little more difficult skipping that lamp in a spoiler context, just because you're going to be lower hearts in general, so it's not as safe. But these guys are veteran runners. They know what they're doing. And Pikapals is heading over to Eastern without that sword, so it must be something here. Could be our Moon Pearl.
Actually, without a sword, Pika will have to take a little bit probably more caution when dashing through these hallways, especially if there are enemies in between. Hey, we're going to pay a visit to 62 today.
There's the Moon Pearl.
Wow.
Okay, so that totally makes sense why Kyong did the route the way he did. There's a flute over in Eastern. That way he gets one less stop into Kakariko. Now, Pikapals will probably get that Moon Pearl right before he goes into the Dark World, so not going to lose a ton of time that way. But it looks like he's going to go ahead and just do Eastern with a fire rod and a bow. This shouldn't be too hard. So he'll be able to finish this off. It's actually in logic. With the big key being in that chest that we just saw, it is actually completely in logic to finish this dungeon. The big key chest not in logic. But if there's nothing there, then it's a big who cares.
Yeah, and we do see Kyong rushing the Dark World as soon as he picked up that Moon Pearl. So even more divergence. So it looks like maybe he... so he can certainly full clear Caves Town that he's here for. And picking up bombos along the way. And then maybe it looks like he, he thinks that he can put off the flute, at least until later.
Yeah. And, no, he picked up a Master Sword, so he's got a little bit more firepower here in the chess game, so now we know where two of our swords are.
Yeah, certainly against blind, the Master Sword won't do any more damage than any other sword, including butter, tempered, or fighter. However, it might just be slightly more convenient because the Master Sword does have a longer reach. So the hitbox, I guess, like for that is more convenient for you.
Yeah, it's a little better that way, but also the enemies, there are more enemies that'll die in one shot in the actual dungeon, so it's a little bit nicer to have. Okay, Pikapal is about to do Armos Knights. Setting up for the quick kill. Executes it perfectly. Just gets Compass for his trouble, but does have the first crystal at 857.
On Kyong's side, he is demonstrating one of the primary reasons why you would really want a sword with the boots here in Beasttown.
Oh yeah. Oh, those crickets will they're with no mail, with green mail. Those crickets will do 2 hearts of damage. Yeah, and you're gonna run right into them if you don't have that sword. Not to mention that hammer blind is no fun whatsoever.
Yeah, and given that Kyong doesn't have any magic yet, he can't even use burn strats. Unless, of course, there was a drop I think that he eventually decided not to pick up, but so right now he doesn't have that option.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of magic to be had in Thieves Town. I think there's one magic pot in the entire dungeon. There may be more, but there's only one. There's one right in here if he wants it. And gets a little magic drop. And he's not even going to grab it. Meanwhile, Pikapal's activating his flute. And going to get his Moon Pearl over at the Sick Kid and probably head straight into the Dark World and into Thieves Town. Okay, 4 heart, green mail, blind fight, let's go. For these runners, that should not be a problem. So far, Kyong staying on script quite nicely. It's a little off at the end, but only takes 1 hard damage, she's fine.
Meanwhile, Pikapals has made his way to Dark World. He's going to pick up his fighter sword from the chess game because he had not picked up his fighter sword, I guess, from Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, I'm really curious where some of the other swords are that Pikapal skipped that one. It could be that he just... I mean, I have a hard time imagining someone wanting to do Master Sword Ganon if a sword is that easily obtainable, but we'll see. We have seen seeds where the other swords are in really crappy spots where you're just gonna bite the bullet and do the Master Sword, but that spot doesn't seem like it's that bad. So it'll be interesting to see if he eventually comes back to it, or if all 4 swords are in very good places. Looks like Kyong meanwhile is going to do the Eastern play to get his flute.
And so far it looks like both runners are just opting to do just Eastern, because at least in Kyong's option here, he could have just gone down to the Flute 5 spot and gone to Dark World. So kind of indicates that there's probably nothing in the pod that they want.
Yeah, I'm going to guess we're not seeing pod, because, yeah, exactly what you said. If you're going to do pod in Eastern, you're going to want to pair them up and do pod, at least go to pod, then mirror out into Eastern. But here, that's just, he didn't do that. Pikapals didn't have that option because he didn't have the Moon Pearl at the time. But the fact that he routed Eastern in ahead of time basically lets us come to the same conclusion.
So far, after so much divergence, looks like both runners are kind of syncing up here. Once Kyong finishes Eastern, yep. And then once Pikapals finishes Thieves Town, assuming Kyong activates his flute, they have the world, both light and dark, at their disposal.
Yep. Yeah, Pikapal's gonna have to be careful here, down to 1 heart. A lot of things do, I mean, basically it's 1-hit KO on most of the enemies here, so there will be some heart pots that he can pick up down near Blind Cell, or near the Maiden Cell.
Yeah, so both runners did pick up that fairy because that was what was in the bottle.
Right.
So he does have a little bit of safety, but
yeah, that's right. Forgot about that fairy.
Yeah, well, you're right. But I mean, chances are they probably just don't want to waste it on something like this.
Yeah, the fairies are more valuable, I find, in Sporolog because they only give you 7 hearts of health, but it's not usual in a Sporolog race to only have 7 hearts or less. Now, Pikapals also has the option of using that blue cane because he did get the full magic refill at Eastern Palace. So if he gets into trouble, he has another option. Okay, Kyong gonna set up for the quick kill over here with his Armos Knights. Oh, doesn't quite get it off properly.
He might make a good recovery though.
That was a very good recovery.
We should just never doubt Kyong. It doesn't matter what he does; it's just always perfect.
Some runners are just that good.
Alright, Pikapals taking down Blind, no worries whatsoever. Kyong taking advantage of a no delay save and quit, probably as valid as of like a week ago.
The 31.5 came out, and a couple of nice things. The save and quit goes a lot faster, and dark rooms now you can actually see the items you get in dark rooms. So if we do see some any items picked up in a dark room, we're actually going to see an example of that. But we're not, like I said, we're probably not going to see pause. So that just leaves dark cross, and I think they would have done that already if it was anything. It looks like Pikapals heading towards the dig game.
So coming out of Thiefstown, so he's already in the dark mode, kind of in this area, so it looks like he does have a little bit of a time advantage over Kyong. However, Kyong does have the Master Sword advantage. Probably on the, and it probably everything's just kind of like a wash if you give Pikapals that sword.
Yeah, Pikapals does need to get at least one more sword somewhere. Whether it's going to be that one or not, we'll find out. Whether he'll try and get, whether there's, I guess, like we said earlier, oh, there's silvers. That's an interesting choice. Not needed, but he may be thinking, let's do Master Sword silvers instead of tempered silverless. That's certainly an option.
Yeah, silvers will definitely save you time like Ganon. And given that, so even though they've already defeated Eastern Palace, which has the is a very advantageous to have silvers there, they still do have to fight Vitreous, and having silvers there is very nice.
Oh, Vitreous is so much better. Yeah, like the difference between silvers and not silvers in Vitreous, I think, is more significant than Armos Knights.
All right,
okay, something on Ether Tablet.
And Kyong's going to be able to get this, and Pikapals will not be able to get this because he only is on Fighter Sword.
Yep. The blue mail, a nice safety, definitely not required. But that's a really nice on-the-way spot to get it. Looks like we're not doing Hera right away. If there's nothing in Hera, then it's often advantageous to just save that for the end and just go right into Ganon's Tower from there. Kyong also picking up some half magic, another nice safety.
Yeah, Pikapals, in this case, choosing to forego it. My guess is he probably won't pick it up at this point. That was probably like the most convenient time to get it.
Yeah, I don't see him going back for that. I don't see him going back for that or that blue mail. So Pikapals playing it, Kyong playing it a little safer. Pikapals going forward a little bit more. We'll see which strategy pays off better.
Yeah, getting safeties is always this like risk versus reward, right? Because in theory, if you never get hit, you don't need any safeties. But of course, that's very unlikely to happen, right? So.
Okay, there's a Master Sword for Pikapals in Hype Cave after getting the cane. So Kyong is about to be untempered. I think we're going to get a Swamp Palace play from both runners. And interesting on the Swamp Palace. Oh, wait, no. it looks like they're going there. Yeah, Pikapals is definitely going towards Swamp Palace. It is a pendant. No, sorry, not a pendant. It is actually a 5/6 crystal. So they do have to do this. You're going to see Pikapals is going to have a little slower Argus fight with that Master Sword than Kyong is going to have with that tempered.
Yeah, in particular, because Kyong does have the boots, he will have the option of attempting for a 0 cycle Argus, because I think he can like dash poke. Pikapals being on Master Sword may not, so it certainly is not going to be able to have that option. Of course, unless there is another sword in Swamp.
Yeah, a sword in Swamp, we never see that. Would not surprise me if we see another sword here.
Now Pikapals does have the silver arrows, and while it's not probably as significant as compared to just like doing Fire Rod and then Sword Spin, you will be able to take down phase 2 of Argus with one silver arrow.
So you could save a little bit of time there if you can get that shot off. Actually, if you've never done that before, it's actually pretty tricky to actually make that shot. But again, these guys, veteran players, will have no trouble doing that if that's the strat they choose to use. Yeah,
and for how big Argus himself is, the window at which you can hit him is actually surprisingly small.
Yeah, big enemy, small hitbox. And Kyong draining the dam or filling the water as Pikapals leaves. So they're basically in the same. Very, very close. It could really come down to the difference of swords and silvers. I know me personally, I'd rather have a tempered sword without silvers than Master Sword Silvers. But Pikapals maybe has different thoughts on that subject. Kyong looks like he's in my camp there.
It certainly does seem like Kyong took definitely some more time trying to get extra firepower and some safety. I mean, half magic plus fire rod is you can just mow down anything.
Yeah. We see two different strats for Diver down there, both executing it very cleanly. Looks like Swamp Palace has nothing. We aren't stopping for anything here.
Yeah, go mode Swamp Palace with Diver down is certainly very fast.
Yeah. So unless Argus has something good for us, we're not getting anything out of this.
Alright, so we do see Pikapals here trying to pull more puffs here. Oh no!
Oh, Pikapals. Oh, he's got the fairy. He's fine. He's fine. How soon we forget.
Alright, but I think on Kyong's side, I think we did see an attempt at Zero Cycle, but I think, I mean, like, you need a lot of good things to also go right with Zero Cycle. He did, start out very, very well. To a couple fire rod shots, we have our third crystal.
And with that, he does take that lead. Pikapal's taking that, well, not death, but, having to use that fairy. And there you see those silver hours put into actions by Pikapals. And we do have everything we need at this point. I'm going to guess that we're not picking up a lamp. This is, I mean, for a lampless lead, this isn't bad. I mean, the Mire Dark Rooms are probably the trickiest. But these guys will know how to do it. Don't have to do pie, don't have to do Turtle Rock. Eastern Palace, the only part they had to do, they had the Fire Rod for.
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily... So, I mean, maybe from Kyong's side it was planned, but he did end up picking up the 10 arrows that was in the Sunken Treasure spot. Probably he wants some extra arrows either going up for GT or for Vitreous.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because it's one of those things where, we talked about this earlier, arrows and bombs, it's so rare in a regular randomizer situation that you have to worry about those, because you just run into them all the time. But in a spoiler race, you're not running into those items all the time in chests, because you're not opening those chests. So definitely something you need to keep track of and possibly route in, either in chests that you look up in the spoiler log, or possibly in pots, if you know where your arrow and bomb pots are. And that's one of the places I often talk about where NMG runners have a bit of an advantage, because I think NMG runners are going to know their pots a little bit more than people that don't run NMG.
Looks like on both runners' side, we're going to get a icebreaker set up here.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the best new finds we've had of recent.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point. Of course, Kyong executes it very well. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where I think in a non-spoiler log race, runners don't want to do Ice Palace at all unless they have kills.
Yeah, no doubt.
The last location.
Okay, Pikapals a little bit more trouble with his icebreaker though. Gonna lose a little bit of time here. And without that half magic, he's gonna have to consider that as well. He does have Bombo, so he can use that instead of the Fire Rod for Cold Stare. And of course, he doesn't have that half magic. Kyong just really set up well for Cold Stare with a Tempered Sword and half magic with the Fire Rod.
Yeah, and Cold Stare is definitely one of those bosses where the difference between Temper Sword and Master Sword can actually be pretty significant.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, misses the spin to get the puffs into the corner. We'll see if he'll probably eventually... Oh, okay, he's got the fairy too.
Yes, he has a fairy.
So we're now even on the fairy revivals. And finishes off Culture with that Fire Rod, just showing just how powerful that Fire Rod is. Yeah, F is for fairy, as chat says.
I mean, Kyong has really put all of his equipment here to, I think, maximum usage, right? So, like, because, like, Blue Mail also, like, helped him save a hit, right? And then he used his entire magic bar for the Fire Rod shots.
Okay, Pikapals starts out with the Bombo, so he's going to have a little bit of firepower with that Fire Rod. But he'll have to mostly rely on the Master Sword here. Does do a good job getting those puffs into the corner, but doesn't keep them there.
Yeah, he got a lot of splash damage though off the Fire Rod, so that was certainly like a really good start.
Yep. Oh, for a Master Sword fight, that was really
yeah, that
good.
was beautiful.
That's, I think, as good as you're going to get for a Master Sword fight. That was really nice.
Alright, Kyong back in the Dark World. Looks like he is going to clear out Skull Woods.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. At this point, they gotta do Skull Woods. They're gonna do Skull Woods, Mire, and then they'll do Harrow last. See if Pikapals chooses which one Pikapals chooses to do next. So he's also gonna go for Skull Woods.
Oh wow! What a mirror spot!
Oh, Kyong decides to grab that container heart. I wouldn't have thought to. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought to mirror there to get that. That was pretty cool. And fortunately, that spot has just enough that he can still get back into it. If he'd been a little bit further down, yeah, it's a little scary.
But you know, we should just never doubt Kyong. He knows probably where all the mirror spots are.
There's a reason he's 5-0 in this tournament, and we're commentating. So. I'm gonna head to the back. Pikapal's not too far behind. Gonna be hard for Pikapal's. The main place where he's gonna save time versus Kyong is on the Vitreous fight with the Silvers. It's not really gonna save a ton of time on the Ganon fight because he's got that Master Sword instead of that Tempered Sword. Still wondering if there's another sword on path for him. And you see Pikapal's taking the long way around so he can get a little bit of extra health.
And yeah, so as Kyong's gonna drop down to fight Molecula, so we're gonna see another time when having Temper Sword is gonna pay off more because Kyong not only has Fire Rod half magic, but Temper Sword only needs 4 slashes. Pikapals will have to do 8.
2 spins.
Or spins, right?
Yep. Also, there's very little magic left for that Fire Rod.
He can also opt to use the hammer here. Hammer does do Temper Sword damage, but of course the hitbox is significantly less predictable.
Yeah, very, very annoying hitbox, that hammer. So you can see that in fact he's switching to the hammer now. But yeah, you can see it's definitely a slower fight here.
With that extra heart that Kyong picked up in the Lost Woods, certainly very nice to have before Mire, which, especially for Mire Dark Rooms.
Yeah, see, with that, and also with that blue mail, you could also use the Cane of Burna to get through the spike area. We'll see if he opts to do either one of those. If he opts to do that.
Alright, half magic, Fire Rod, Sword Beams. Mire 2 should be a very quick kill for Kyong here.
Yeah, very nicely done.
Hoping that the big key is not in its vanilla location. In Splitter Log, I mean, because you get to know everything, you always kind of hope that you don't have to go to that cutscene chest.
Yeah. And there's the big key. Looks like we're not getting anything else out of Mire. Not a surprise, again, the runners don't need anything else at this point.
Yeah, certainly for Kyong, I'm not actually sure what else he would even go out of his way to pick up at this point. Like, maybe if there's a sword like along the way, you know, he'll pick it up. But given that we already know where silvers are, I'm not sure like what else would benefit him at this point.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go out of his way for a sword. Not when he's already got temper. Now Pikapals might, since he's only on Master Sword. The only other thing I could see going out of the way for is if there's something relatively close, if there's a mail upgrade somewhere. And keep in mind the runners can watch each other. They can watch the restream. So if there's a safety somewhere that would help them a little bit, they might. If Kyong feels like he's ahead, he might take the extra time to get it.
It looks like, while both runners are going to go into the basement, Kyong's opting to not do spooky, I think, in the dark. Certainly don't blame him, especially he probably realizes that he's, you know, far ahead at this point, or far enough ahead at this point that, you know, he could just do, you know, the room more consistently.
Okay, Pikapal is now in his dark rooms. Kyong about to go into his Vidi fight. Gonna use Cane strats, okay. With half magic, that should work pretty well. Just run across.
It's very satisfying, right? You do a couple dashes and then, you know, like, and then suddenly they're just all gone.
Pikapal's gonna make up a little bit of time here because he'll have his silvers.
Both runners getting through Mire Dark Rooms. I mean, like, I won't say like blazingly fast, but I mean like, geez. Like, you know, you almost think that they did have the lamp at this point.
Okay, now one more to go. Gotta go do Hera. Pikapal's finishing up his Vidi fight. To show the power of those silvers, it's kind of a blink and you miss it.
Yes, speaking of blinking and missing, right, we're, you know, probably like 30, you know, a little over 30 minutes into the seed, and we're already going to clear Hera, and then we're going to clear DT.
Yep.
Like, this is so fast. Alright, Kyong opting to take Super Money Cave up the mountain. Certainly can avoid a lot of Dead Rock RNG.
It's quicker to take the light roll path that Pikapals is taking, but that's the key word there, of course, is optimally. If you're really good at executing through Super Bunny Cave and less good at executing through the light world area, it certainly makes sense to go ahead and do it this way, especially since Pikapals does have to actually hammer the pegs for the portal. It's still supposed to be faster even in that situation, but you know, at that point it's not as big a difference. We're not touching Turtle Rock today.
Yeah, speaking of not touching Pendant Dungeons, I don't think we've seen any dips into TR, Pod, or Desert.
We have not. And Pikapal is going into Hookshot Cave. This is interesting. I wonder what he could be after over here.
You see Kyong setting up Parapot with the boots.
Looks like he just wanted some extra hearts and some arrows.
To be very aware of your resources, especially in this case, having silver arrows, I think is very, very important. In fact, like Pikapal's going into Ganon or into GT, if you didn't know where, if you couldn't find arrows, then he might have been actually a couple short.
Yeah, that's the problem. Pikapal's also going to set up for a nice Hera pot. There we go. Very nicely done. Now, Kyong going to be the first one into GT.
And we can see that why runners here want to have save Hera as their last dungeon if they can, because Kyong in this case took the mirror portal from Hera back to the Dark World and immediately is in the front of GT, so you can just walk right in.
Yeah, so rare you get to do this in a regular randomizer situation.
Yes, and of course, as we've been, because we didn't have too much of a leeway, feel free to guess the exact location of the GT big key, because for a normal 1 through 22 location guess, chances are these runners are going to be something either like 1 or 2 chests. So that probably won't help because they have a spoiler log.
Okay, looks like Kyong going to the left.
So no torch on GT, no key on the torch. Looks like no tile room. Looks like no stealthless room.
One of our chatters with the guess of in the chest with a big key. All right. Okay, let's see if Pikapals also goes to the left. Pikapals going to the right. And gets that tempered sword. So this becomes more interesting. So Pikapals a little bit behind, but has those silvers. Kyong does not have the silvers. I don't know if this is close enough for that to be the huge difference, but we'll see. It's going to be an execution battle at this point. So that means Kyong decided to get the sword early, the one in Hyrule Castle, mainly for the other boss fights. Pikapals deciding that, it doesn't really matter for, Trinex being one of the bosses that it matters the most. But, and, Coldstare being one of the other ones, but you saw Pikapals on that Master Sword Coldstare. That was really, really quick. You can't do it much faster with a tempered sword.
And we see, actually, because it looks like we have to fight Ice Arbos, Pikapals most likely will be able to save some time over Kyong here, because he will have the silvers, and
yep.
they will both have to fight Lambo too. So I think Pikapals will also probably save some time there too.
Yeah, so he's got a couple of time saves coming up with those silvers. Also, Pikapal's gonna have a little bit easier time in the mimic rooms, although it's not too much of a difference.
Well, I don't envision this to be too much of an issue. Probably the most important advantage that Pikapal needs to hold on to are those silver arrows. As long as he has 4 before he fights Ganon, he will keep that advantage.
That should be good. Kyong's advantage, of course, being that half magic. So Pikapal's gonna have to keep a closer eye on that magic. So at this point, we know we're not gonna pick up the lamp. It was in Spiral Cave in Death Mountain. So yeah, completely out of the way. Don't blame the runners for skipping that.
Yeah, actually, did these runners even visit Paradox Cave at all, or like anything on
nope.
East Dark
Mountain? One went through Super Bunny to get up Death Mountain, the other one went through Paradox Cave to get up Death Mountain, but neither one checked anything. So
yeah, so I think that's even less reason to pick up the lamp in this case.
Yeah. The lamp would have meant if the lamp had been a little bit more on path, I could have seen Kyong maybe picking it up. Since he doesn't have silver arrows, he'll have to get the torch glitch with the fire rod. It's a little more difficult, mainly because you just end up using more magic. Spamming those fire rod shots gonna waste magic if you don't get it right away.
Pikapals looks like he's gonna take a little bit of safety detour. Yeah, both of these runners did use up their fairy respectively. Yep. One was at Coldstare for Pikapals, and one Kyong was the one who used it at Coldstare. I think Pikapals used it
Argus.
Argus, thank you. Yes. So they will certainly have to be careful going up the mountain. GT.
The tower.
The tower, yeah. Feels like a mountain.
It's a tower on a mountain. And no powder for safety to powder the anti-fairies up here. But it really doesn't matter. Kyong is at full heart right now, which is good for him. And there you see why those silver arrows are so nice on Lanmo on Pikapal's side.
Having 6 arrows left. Hopefully this should be enough for Ganon.
Yeah, he's not worried. He could have picked up that 5-arrow drop if he was worried. Kyong are first into the Aga-2 fight. It's like a double there. I don't think this first one hit. I mean, I think 2 of them hit at the same time, I should say. So I think it ended up being a double, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looked very close. That was not a double though.
You see, Pikapals without that half magic has to pick up the extra magic pot there in right before Torches 2. So as much as Pikapals is going to save time with those silver arrows, if Kyong has a good Ganon fight, I don't think it's going to be enough. But we shall see.
Kyong certainly very capable of getting the 1-1 here. And because, even though Kyong is doing silverless, because he has half magic, he's not under very much pressure to also get Torch Glitch as well.
Yeah, Torch Glitch, not getting Torch Glitch is going to be a time loss more than anything else. Okay, Kyong almost done with round 3. Meanwhile, Pikapal's in the
that was so
in
close.
the Aga-2 fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got the Torch Glitch. He's good. Yeah, this is gonna work out. Okay, Pikapal's dropping into the Ganon fight as Kyong finishing up. Almost done. Doing a very nice job getting triples here. And there it is. Ganon is down.
I'm not sure if there's anything that Kyong did wrong.
I don't think so. And he finishes up with an official SRL time of 58:22. When you take into account the 15 minutes, that is a 43:22. That is really, really impressive.
That is
I don't know if anyone's keeping track of what the best times in this tournament is. But that is, if that's not the best time, I want to know who has the best time and what it was. You know, Pikapal's gonna finish not too far behind. Just gotta do a finish up with those silvers here. For him, the Torch Glitch doesn't matter. And there it is, Pikapal finishing up.
It's certainly much faster phase 4 for Ganon, but you know, it's certainly to be expected. Silver's probably saved something like 30 to 45 seconds on Kyong. Certainly, you know, closed the gap by a lot. But in this case, it just looks like it wasn't quite enough.
And Pikapals finishing up with a 59.25, which translates to a 44.25. GG to both our runners. That was insane. And we have Kyong here with us. How you doing? GG's.
GG's, Kyong.
That was pretty insane. I mean, when you think about it for a second, you guys, including the spoiler time, you both sub 1 houred the seed.
It was kind of crazy.
I mean, we see this, usually we think, well, sub 1, you're doing really good. Sub 1, including the spoiler time.
It was kind of a crazy scene. I was having an hour of hair and was like, wait, I'm like only 30 minutes in. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Crystal did I forget?
That's always a concern. I know I've had that feeling before. Wait. And that's just a regular seed. But yeah, not a whole lot of difference. Kyong, you chose to get half magic, got your tempered sword earlier. Pikapals, you chose to get the silvers, didn't get your tempered sword until GT. Those are the main differences, other than minor rounding differences where you just kind of switched up a little bit. Pikapals, I think you did Eastern earlier, and Kyong, I think you did Thieves Town earlier.
I think my early route was maybe too fancy. It was basically
Fancy, huh?
to boots, straight to flippers, straight to to boots, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the rest was like, it was just crazy how concentrated the items were. Not a lot of items inside and scattered on the overworld. Was basically just a couple spots here and there. So, and no pendant dungeons as well. So yeah,
Always nice to not dip those pendants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for Pikapals, yeah. So as Tracy mentioned, like one kind of like major difference was Kyong ended up getting a sword earlier out of Hyrule Castle, and then so he had Master Sword and Temper Sword versus most of the time where you just had Master Sword. So I guess like any thoughts about like getting that sword earlier?
Yeah, I was considering it. Like, Hyrule Castle map is kind of obnoxious when you don't have to go over there for any other reason, but it's not that far out of a way for an extra sword. I just felt like, assuming I had a good skull, assuming I had a good Mothula, the main time loss from not getting it early was going to be Argus, and that's not that bad. So
Yep. Yeah, and you did lose a little time in those
fine.
two. You didn't lose time in Cold Stare. That Cold Stare fight with the Master Sword was beautiful.
Yeah,
messed that up pretty badly as well.
We didn't see anything at all. Don't worry, Kyong.
No. You didn't each use a fairy at any point in the run. No, didn't see that happen.
No, I would never get rushed down by Argus. Not once. It's definitely never happened before in one of the async seeds where I get a fairy.
I've seen that comment in one of the async seeds.
Yeah, I'm really bad at dealing with fast Argus. He just moves at me way faster than I want him to, and then suddenly I'm dead.
Honestly, I also wanted this sword to get the May upgrade on Ether Tab.
Yep, that's right. That was another difference.
Yeah,
you definitely like
At one point, I had immediately after getting her, I just went saved and then dig game, then the Village of Outcast from there, but decided that the extra story probably wasn't that worth it.
The silvers, I think, I'm not sure. It was rough looking at the login, seeing the, how many digs was that? 28 or something?
Yeah, it was a lot,
25?
wasn't it?
But,
I looked at that, I was like, well...
Yeah, that was my main concern, but I
24.
definitely wasn't going to get
digs.
away with. I definitely wasn't going to get away with a fast Master Sword or my Vitreous if I didn't grab them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, since I ended up routing Temperate there, I just decided to get half magic for burn because I knew I would end up using there.
Yeah, I successfully used Burna this seed more often than I usually do, which was once.
Yeah, I think you both used it in the Meyer dark room to get it around the spike, which I think is a really good place to use it.
Yeah, just make that room consistent, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I actually just used it in the spike chest to get the big key.
Oh yeah,
I just tanked the
yep.
spike.
That makes sense.
Luckily, my dark room went actually way better than I expected. So.
Well, that's the only dark room you had to do. The lamp being in Spiral Cave, we weren't going for that.
Yeah, that's a little too far out of the way.
That's a lot too far out of the way for one dark room or one set of dark rooms, because the Eastern you had the fire rod for Eastern and didn't have to touch Pod or Turtle Rock. So. All right, so Kyong, guarantee into brackets. So congratulations, 6-0. Got one more week. You try and stay undefeated. So good luck there. Pikapals at 5-1, still looking really good for those brackets. I think even if you end up going to the tiebreak, you're probably pretty safe. But
yeah.
How do you all feel going forward?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, I think my tiebreakers are strong enough that even if I do end up losing next week, I should be fine.
Yeah.
And sub-hour SRL time is always a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still amazed at that sub-hour with the spoiler time.
Yeah, and you guys executed. I mean, it was just like it was such a pleasure to watch both of you run. I don't really think that you guys really made any mistakes, at least that we saw on screen that we were willing to admit. So
we didn't see fairies. Other than that, though, it was very, very well executed.
Yeah, that bottle was definitely just for the pearl, not a safety at all.
All right. Anything else either one of you want to add before we close this out?
No, not really. Just GG's. Good luck in your next race.
GG's. Thank you for the commentary as always, and see you again on top 8.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to see more races from you guys. GG's again. Thank you so much for racing, putting on such a wonderful show for us.
All right, so that's pretty much going to do it for us. Looks like we do have another race, Clear Mouse, with the marathon of commentary today. Going to be joined by Jurasi on SpeedGaming 2 at 11:15 for Tam versus Hula Ninja, a 3-2 matchup. But of course, the 3-2 matchups are all interesting because if you still have only 2 losses, you still have a shot at those brackets. And if you have 3 losses, one of those runners is going to be knocked out for sure. So that should be a good one. And also go ahead and keep looking at the schedule. Don't know, a lot of races yet to be played. Don't know what's going to get restreamed, but definitely keep an eye on that schedule to see what other matches are coming up. Also want to thank our tracker, Yoinker's wife, for doing the hard work behind the scenes. Clear Mouse for joining me on commentary, and of course everybody at Speed Gaming and all the tournament organizers for setting things up. It's been a really good time, and I'll let you close this out, Clear Mouse.
No, thanks, Tracy. It was really just a lot of fun copying with you. Thanks again, yes, to Yoinker's wife, our tracker, and thank you so much again, Kyong and Pikapals, for putting on such a great show for us. If you haven't already, please give these guys a follow. These guys are amazing at this game, and I'm sure they appreciate any support you guys can give them. Thank you so much again. Have a great night, guys.